When was the last time you feel like you actually played? If not talking about performance or production, but play, or something that at least felt like play to you. If that question feels uncomfortable or you can't think of an answer, you're not alone. Most leaders and adults in general have forgotten how to play. And it's costing you. It's costing you joy. It's costing you creativity. It's actually costing you productivity as well. If you are new here, welcome to the Joyosity Podcast. I'm so glad that you found your way to this corner of leadership and life where joy is at the center and we can design our work and the rest of our lives for joy. I'm Jenn Whitmer, international keynote speaker, leadership consultant, and all around joy bringer. And if you are jumping back in with us, welcome. I'm so glad that you keep showing up. This fall, we are continuing our series inspired by my upcoming book, Joyosity: How to Cultivate Intense Happiness in Work and Life, even if things are what they are. And here, what we're doing is we're not settling for toxicity. We're not settling for constant overwhelm or the exhaustion of it's all just too much. In each episode, we're going to walk out of that. I'm going to bring you stories and research and tools you can use right away to create a thriving workplace and really a joyful life by starting with yourself. So, in my first months as a school administrator, we were deep in our first ever accreditation process. So, think like IRS Form 1040 with every single schedule attached. And it is so many details. I was the director of assessment and feedback. My partner, Dana, in this project was the director of curriculum and instruction. And Dana was all about the details. I liked brainstorming and exploring. And so one night I was sitting at home on my blue couch with my laptop in my lap, and Dana was running laps at her community center. I was reading the standards as she told me where the evidence lived on the server. And so we were laughing, we were doing the work, and all of a sudden she was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I asked because I thought she'd like bit the dust on the track. And she says, "I've been running for an hour and a half." Now, Dana was not a long distance runner. She was more of like a 35-minute run walk girl. And that night, she unknowingly ran her first 10K. Time had disappeared for both of us. Now, when I say the words accreditation or audit or certification, that doesn't sound like play. Yet in our like couch to 10K collab had all the properties of what it means to play. And if you've ever wondered about the science of play as an adult, or you're like, gosh, I just wish more things felt lighter like play, this is your episode. So play gets dismissed. It gets dismissed as silly. It gets dismissed as childish. But lack of play shows up in dangerous ways at work. It shows up as absenteeism. Lack of play shows up as fragility. Lack of play shows up as overwork, bullying, and flat out lack of creativity. Because when you cut out play, you cut off your connection to creativity, to resilience, to problem solving, and you really cut the connection to people that keeps you and your team energized and in it together. You know, the words we use in work are things like engagement and productivity, but we know that that is that connection energy. So here's what the data says. Sir Cary Cooper, he's an organizational psychologist expert, which means basically he studies how people work together. He led a massive study called It Pays to Play. And here's what they found in that study. Number one, about absenteeism. Employees who reported not experiencing play or fun at work, those people, 58% of those people had 11 or more sick days in 3 months. Basically, they missed 1 day a week. Those same people, for when we talk about collaboration and creativity, those people who didn't experience play and fun, their creativity scores were nearly 25% lower than those who did, and their collaboration scores were 20 points lower than those who did. When people start losing play, when you have the absence of play, what happens is that we as adults reach for unhealthy, soothing behaviors. So those unhealthy comforts look like an extra glass or 3 of wine a night, excessive and over exercising, or numbing out on the couch. It also turns into, number 4, overwork. 71% of employees who work 40 plus hours a week rated play as important. So that is a big percentage. If you're working full time, it says that 71% said play at work is important. That's a lot of people. But that number dropped among those who were working more hours. They earned more money and they had bigger titles. So they started working 50 plus hours a week, and they didn't think play was as important at work. And Cooper, the one who did the study, basically said that they've become slaves to the task. They've become slaves to the task. So if you don't play, you will overwork. And the last thing that actually Dr. Stuart Brown discovered, that if you, and Scott Erbel, if you don't have play, because play is a biological imperative, it turns into bullying. So basically, a biological imperative means that your body has to play. And when it is absent, what happens is people create fake play. And fake play looks like manipulation, it looks like control, toxic friendships, and bullying behaviors. So Dr. Brown and Erbel's research says that lack of play directly correlates to bullying and toxic dynamics. That means at work and in the rest of your relationships. So all of that says, if you don't play, play isn't frivolous. Lack of play doesn't make you dull. All work and no play doesn't make you dull. It makes you dangerous. Play is the hidden engine of healthy leaderships and healthy teams. So I'm going to pause here for just a moment and talk about my new book, Joyosity: How to Cultivate Intense Happiness in Work and in Life, even if things are what they are. That is coming in just a few days. It's so exciting. And I'm honored that Dimple Dabalia, who is a former Refugee Asylum and International Operations Directorate officer, it's a lot of words there, in the Department of Homeland Security. And now she's a leadership coach and author herself, and she has endorsed the book. Dimple knows firsthand how critical resilience and joy are in the most high stakes environments. She knows what it feels like to be in a war zone, and she recognizes the power of joy to help sustain us in the most difficult of circumstances. So you can pre-order the book right now at jennwhitmer.com/books. You can also, this is kind of your last chance to join the VIP group and get the bonuses that are in there and the extra goodies that are happening. And you can get that link in the show notes. But again, it's jennwhitmer.com/books. So let's turn back to play. So if joy and play are part of the solution, let's talk about, what does play really look like? The serious business of play as a leadership practice. I think most of us have to rediscover that. In the book, I talk a lot about the research of Dr. Stuart Brown, and he talks about removing the barriers of play. We actually know it. We kind of poo-poo it as, again, childish or frivolous or silly, but it's really not. So let's talk about really, what does that look like as a leadership practice. One, play isn't a game. Play can be a game, but play as a definition isn't a game. Play is a state of being. And in the book, I give you the 7 properties of play. But play is the state of being where you are curious, you are engaged, and there is joy in the process. There's a little bit of risk to it. So play is a state of being. And in the book, I also help you understand what flow looks like. We talk sometimes about flow in the workplace. We like that better than play. But it is a state of being where all of you and all of your mind and your emotions and your body are all firing together. In the book, I talk a lot about the brain science. So it's like you're literally firing on all cylinders. And so when Dana and I were like lost and we'd lost track of time completely enjoying ourselves, we were in a state of play. So number 2, play builds mastery. Every skill that you've learned, from language to leadership, actually started with play. Play is the path to expertise. Play is the path to mastery. And it looks different for every person because we cannot, as the saying goes, we tend to be a jack of all trades and master of none. You can't be master of everything. So the way you play is different than other people. And so you actually can play your way into expertise. It builds the mastery of your skills. I have a quiz for you that I'll talk about in a moment that helps you discover your own play persona of your own path to playing to mastery. So play is also flow, like I just talked a little bit about, but it is this space where time disappears, where you are in intense energy and creativity. When I was finishing the second round of edits in the book, so you go through a lot of different rounds of reviewing and revising, I was sleeping like 4 to 6 hours a night. Now, you heard me talk about just a couple episodes ago why sleep is so important, and I have a whole multi-page spread in the book about the power of sleep. So why am I not sleeping? Well, it's because I was so energized. Like I would go to sleep, but then I would wake up with new ideas because I was playing. That felt like fun to me. Now, if some of you are like, oh, good Lord, revising a book sounds like the worst thing ever. That's great. You don't have to play the way I play. In fact, everybody plays differently. So, but you feel that total energy when you are in flow like that. So number 4, play is an approach. It's not adding, pickleball to your calendar, as much as I think you should add pickleball to your calendar if you think pickleball is fun. But it's not just a game again. It's an approach to the way you face challenges, with flexibility, with a bit of humor, with exploration, with experimentation. And in the book, I talk about a famous experiment that demonstrates the power of play as a way of problem solving. That is an approach to what you're doing. So, and that leads me to number 5, which is play is actually problem solving. Some of the best innovations that we know of, Zoom, Gmail, do not come from grinding harder. They came from playful thinking that reframes the problem. And in the book Joyosity, I give you more of the brain science behind why that happens and what you have in your brain that are called play circuits. So when you are engaging with your play circuits in the center of your brain, it's actually connecting different parts of your brain so you see problems from different angles. You lose the binary thinking, that rigid thinking, and you have a whole new set of abilities to come up with a problem or to come up with the solution to different problems. So play is a leadership skill. It's actually a practice, I would say. So it's not a game. It builds mastery. It's flow. It's an approach to something, and it is problem solving. And you can get the book now, like I said, at jennwhitmer.com/book. And in the playbook, you have so many more options as well. I give you even more ways to play, and I'll dig deeper in that. If you want to know more about your play persona, you can do that right now at jennwhitmer.com/play dash quiz. I don't have that in my banners. Sorry, friends who are watching on YouTube. So jennwhitmer.com/play dash quiz. And that's going to give you the 8 different play personas. And if you want, after you get your results, you can get sent all 8 of them so you can see and explore, because there's lots of details in there for you. But you can go to jennwhitmer.com/play dash quiz to get the play personas quiz and help you figure out what's the best way for you to play toward mastery. So if I put my coach hat on and you think about play, when I said all work and no play doesn't make you dull, it makes you dangerous, what did you think? Were you curious? Were you critical? Were you skeptical? How did you respond to that statement? And then the next question is, how often do you play? If you're not sure where to start with that, like I said, go grab the play quiz. It's jennwhitmer.com/play-quiz to discover what your play persona is. And know that play is the way you create expertise. Play is serious business. It produces the creativity and the productivity that we all want while actually being a joy instead of a grind. So if you know somebody who's like, I would like to play more, share this episode. Let's be a part of creating this movement that reminds us that play powers joy, and joy is at the center of all the things that we want in work and in the rest of your one continuous life. Connect with me at Jenn with 2 N's at jennwhitmer.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you discovered, how you are applying this, or connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Jenn_Whitmer. And if you would rate and subscribe to the show, it just really helps extend this movement. It helps more leaders find us. I know we say that every week, but I cannot express how important that is, because so much of the interwebs are controlled by algorithms. So you doing that has great power. I know that feels like it's not a big deal to take the 5 minutes to hit 5 stars, tell us what you think, and share it with other people, but it is huge. It's huge. And it helps others discover this joy-powered leadership, so we can stay playful and human and effective. I love that you get to play, that we don't have to give up play as adults is powerful. It's how we're designed as humans. And so I want to leave you with this reminder that all play and no work doesn't make you dull, it makes you dangerous. But you can play your way into mastery.